Welcome inside a beautiful Monday right here on Woodward. My name is Stick. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network. This is The Hook. I am filling in for Pilar once again. She will be back midweek, so everybody that's missing Pilar, I'm sorry. You got to deal with me for just a couple more days, but when she gets back in here, I guarantee the level of intrigue on visuals is going to be a lot better than it is now.
Yeah,
that's why you got Maz.
Yeah, Maz is the beauty of the show right now. That's why we're struggling.
The beast. You mean the beast.
So welcome inside the show. To my right, we have Tom Mazaway, also known as Maz. To my left, we have Darren McCarty, also known as D-Mac. We got Easy, making sure everything runs smoothly over in the video production, Fish in audio production. Well, let's get right on into it, Maz. Let's start off with your news.
You got it. Thank you, Stick. Great having you here again. And, of course, our news brought to you by MyBookie. Thank you to them, of course, our studio sponsor. Don't forget to use the promo code Woodward. They will match your first deposit 50% up to $1,000. March Madness continues tonight. 2 games in the Elite Eight starting up at 7:45 tonight. Make that 7:15. We just moved it up a little bit. Two good games. Number 13, Oregon State. They just keep on playing. They take on number 2, Houston. The Cougars favored by 7.5. Number 1, Baylor taking on number 3, Arkansas in the nightcap. The Bears favored by 7.5. By the way, listen to this stat, guys. If Houston beats number 12, Oregon State tonight, the Cougars will be the first team to reach the Final Four without ever facing a single-digit seed.
That's wild.
Isn't that something?
Wild.
They've beaten a 15, a 10, an 11, and a 12. And then tonight they get a number 13 in Oregon State, and they just keep on playing. By the way, the 2001 MSU Spartans came close to that record. They beat a 16, a 9, a 12, and an 11 to make it to the Final Four. Of course, they did not take it off the sheet that year. Yesterday, you saw it. Last night, Michigan dominated Florida State, 76-58. They make it to another Elite Eight. Hunter Dickinson, another great night for him. He faced another 7-footer, 14-8 for him. Brandon John subbing in for Isaiah Livers was phenomenal again. 14 points for him. And, oh, well, another double-double for Franz Wagner. Wolverines get number 11. The old Blue Bloods from back at Pauley Pavilion, number 11, UCLA, coming in tomorrow night. That is a 9:57 tip. Of course, put the East Coast team, the Eastern Time Zone team, on late at night. Meanwhile, the other 3 teams that are in it all play on the West Coast. That's what you get when you have TV, and they want the better matchup at night to keep you going. So they get the late game tomorrow. The Bruins, only the second play-in team to ever make it to an Elite Eight. Shaka Smart. And VCU did it quite a number of years ago. By the way, the UCLA Bruins beat Alabama yesterday in overtime. What a game. Alabama hitting that just inside a half court, basically.
His only points of the game,
shot.
too.
I know. And you said it this morning, and I was saying it last night. I played it over and over. He had that going. He had the hand up. He kept it up. He knew it was going in. And then I thought they were going to roll. I thought it was roll tide after that, but they got rolled. UCLA wakes up and just takes them out in overtime. By the way, Rocket Watts transferring from MSU. He is in the transfer portal. So more things happening at Michigan State. Maybe Tom Izzo laid a hand on him. I don't know.
No, we saw that.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, maybe this is what we're talking about, man. You start gripping up kids, they're going to leave your program.
Well, then go. That's the way I look at it.
Is this what you guys are? Is you guys feel good about yourself right now? You know, you both are just like backhand slapping Uncle Tom right in the face.
I love Izzo.
I know you do, but you got to throw in. It's a schwarmy update to say that they beat the 9, the 16, the 11, and then they didn't finish it off.
Well,
and then now Stick's like, oh, this, that, and there, everything else.
Hey.
This ain't about it. But you know what? The Rocket Watts thing, that goes back to him getting benched a few games, you know, before they beat Michigan and stuff like this, where it's the culture. When he said to Tony Paul, you write what you want to write. Right? Yeah. Back to there. You write what you want. First time in 30 years that he's reported. You saw what happened, right? Where you want. So the writing's on the wall, and it could be absolutely different things. And it's the way that sports, every sport, college, pro, has evolved softer.
I got heated up this morning listening to these. Corey really got under my skin this morning.
Oh, I saw it. You were all caps in the chat.
I wanted to come through, man. I can't stand this crap. I can't.
What were you mad at him about this morning?
Because he called. It's got to change. Go. I'm sorry, Corey.
Well,
I like Corey.
This is your time. Corey was on that mic. Now it's your time to piss Corey off. Go ahead.
I'll get him.
All right.
I'll get him. I have to finish my update first of all. I forgot to even tell you about Gonzaga and USC. They're the leading game tomorrow night at 7:15. The Zags, a 9-point favorite. No one has even touched them so far. Pistons host the Raptors tonight. They have lost 4 in a row. Toronto's lost 11 of 12, by the way. Tip-off from LCA at 8. Tigers wrapping up Grapefruit League play. Only 2 games to go before opening day. Right now they lead the Yankees 5-1. Akil Baddoo, another home run. He has 5 so far in this spring. He's made the team. Opening day coming up on Thursday. Darren's birthday, April 1st.
Hey.
We'll be down there at the Brass Rail. 8,200 fans allowed inside, but nobody allowed outside. And we'll talk about that coming up. By the way, their pitching coach, former Michigan coach, Chris Fetter, out indefinitely right now with COVID. NFL, thank you. Adding a 17th game to the schedule this year. Looks like the Lions will travel to Denver to play their last game of the season. Of course, it'll probably be a meaningless game. It will replace one of the preseason games, which is great. Take a look at your screen right now. That is the newly proposed Week 17 games. And if you look at the Chiefs game. Let me find that. At the Chiefs. Top left. Packers at the Chiefs. You know, hopefully one of those teams might need that win, but more than likely you might be seeing the scrubs.
There's some good matchups.
There are some good matchups. And what happens is if you finish 4th in your division, you're playing the 4th place division in the AFC West this year if you're in the NFC North, and so on and so forth. Peter King wrote it all out for you on his Monday Morning Quarterback if you want to check that out. And NASCAR. Darren's got NASCAR at 4 today. The Food City Dirt Race was rained out yesterday, so Darren gets to play again and give you his best bets coming up here in just a couple of minutes for today's race, which starts in 50 minutes from now. And let's take you to this day in sports. Back in 1982, the legend of MJ was born.
A 1-point lead for Georgetown. Oh, they stay in the 1-3-1 with Ewing in the middle. They've got to look to get it in there. You can't with a shot blocker like Ewing. Takes so much time. Gordy to Black. The tie, 18. Shot, Jordan. Michael Jordan. 14 seconds. Brown.
Here it comes.
Look for Sleepy Floyd.
Oh, oh, Worthy.
He threw it to Worthy.
Oh.
It's over. He's fouled.
Oh, baby. Oh, man. Gary Bender and my man, oh, man. How could I just leave my head? I just had it. Billy Packer on the call in that game. Those guys were terrific back in the day. How about James Worthy intercepting that last ball? And, of course, he goes to the Lakers in the first round and becomes James Worthy. And what a career he had. So great stuff. I got a couple more coming up a little bit later.
How about no 3-point line?
Right.
That's the big. When you take back, that definitely takes it back. When do we know when the 3-point was put in college?
I mean, clearly after 82, right?
Yeah,
there you
have
go.
to find out. Fish, get on that for us, Fish.
That must be the wood math.
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
Gotta be. Anyway, how about Patrick Ewing in that game too?
He looked like he was just sitting in the paint.
He was just waiting
obviously,
for a
there was no
pass.
3-second call back then either, because dude was just standing there with his arms out, going crazy.
Sleepy Floyd was on the court there. I mean, man, there's some good names on that court, and the two best, obviously, Michael Jordan, James Worthy, and of course Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, and
what
then
a game.
Maz already brought it up today. D-Mac, you got a little extra pit boss action going on.
I do.
You want to give that to us right now?
I will.
I will. Let's do it. And it says, let's see, the shot itself. Oh, they moved the 3-point line back in 2008, 21 years after the introduction. So that means 87 is when it first got put into college
Good
basketball.
math.
Yep.
Nicely done. Nicely
Excellent.
done.
On the spot, too. You ready, Easy? All right, let's do it, D-Mac.
Second base. First or last, baby.
Let's pretend this sound.
I mean, I wake up before not kidding.
Brothers racing. If you ain't first, you're
There it
last.
There it is.
There
All
we
right,
go.
man.
All right, guys, it's a bonus Monday for me. D-Mac's Pit Boss. Why? We're in Bristol on the dirt. The first dirt race in 30 years or so. It doesn't matter. Well, it's been a mess. We know that dirt and rain do not mix. We actually had a whole bunch of water. They've got it off. I want to give a shout out because they had to do the truck race and at noon today. Martin Truex Jr. wins the dirt race. He has now won a race in all 3 national series, becoming the 36th driver in NASCAR history to accomplish this. We're going to the trucks and the bumper cars, and if you know, on Friday I gave you the 2 favorites for the $10 plays, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. Kyle Larson got moved to the back. Doesn't mean he can't do it, but here's what I want. The $5 picks, as you see on the bottom. We're pressing the issue. We're going to go Martin Truex, obviously, hot out of the truck, into the car, plus 1,600. Ryan Blaney, who's also won recently, plus 1,500. A week ago. And 2 of the long shots, where I gave Matt, I said, Kurt Busch plus 4,000. And then I go, and my long shot. And he said, that's not your long shot? No. Ryan Newman. Come on,
Hello,
Newman. Hello, Newman. Plus 6,000. So you got Truex, Blaney, Kurt Busch, and Newman. And who knows how this is going to end. If you like Demolition Derby and NASCAR racing, you must watch at 4 o'clock today. Those are my Pit Boss extra picks of the week. Good luck.
Thank you, D-Mac, and everybody else taking business on the track today, but Michigan basketball took care of business on the court yesterday, and we're going to talk about that game plus the game they got coming up tomorrow night next on Woodward Sports.
Welcome to Crumble Cookies! It is Joey from Woodward Sports, and this is my new favorite spot where I like to spend my time because they have the best cookies I've ever had in my entire life, and you won't regret coming here and trying them. Located off of Rochester Road, right next to the Imagine Theaters in Rochester Hills, it's Crumble Cookies. Come try these delicious cookies. They even got their own app. They got curbside pickup. They got delivery. You won't regret it. Just come try for yourself. You'll thank me later. I promise.
Hey guys, D-Mac here, GrowGreenMI.com. Grow Green, the country's largest hydro store, buys in bulk and passes the savings on to you. The growers looking for soil. They have over 1,000 pallets in stock, including Pro Mix, Dairy Dew, Roots Organics, and Fox Farm, all at the lowest prices in the state. Check out their dank deals for insane deals like bags of Ocean Forest for $8 and gallons of Turpinator for just $50. Mention the show or Woodward Sports for a free t-shirt. Click growgreenmi.com.
Love it. Yeah, love the people out at Grow Green. Make sure you say hi to PJ if you go out there to Whitmore Lake. So, University of Michigan, I mean, everybody was kind of worried about this Florida State matchup last night. They were, athletic. They were big. They were going to cause problems because Dickinson hasn't faced a true 7-footer in a long time. They were only favored by 2 points after being up by 6 at Vegas. A lot of people started to put money on Florida State. And Michigan took care of business. I mean, they beat them handedly last night, 76-58. And I mentioned it earlier today. The last 6 minutes of that game was so nice to just be comfortable, enjoying good basketball, just watching it play out.
The whole half was good.
I got nothing to worry about.
Just sweating the over.
Yeah, I wasn't sweating anything at that point.
Mac, I didn't sweat yesterday.
What?
I sweated a little in the first half, but no.
No, it was
the only thing that pissed me off is they missing their free throws. But no one missed more than Alabama. It cost them the game against UCLA. But, Michigan was missing free throws. At one point, they were hitting 56% of their free throws. You can't. That's going to come back and get you.
Right. You
can't do that. Other than that, they played a perfect game. They dominated from pillar to post, man.
Well, the beauty of that game, and if you watched it from start to finish, is exactly what Juwan Howard, and it's the things that I have noticed and I've sort of been preaching, and we saw last week. Our buddy Tim McCormick, who was on here, obviously voice of Michigan basketball and Pistons and stuff, said when Hunter Dickinson, as being the freshman but has gotten the reps, is playing bigger than that, when he gets to look eye to eye with another 7-footer his size, he can dominate. He made a couple great moves down low. They used them efficiently. You got to remember this too, right? This is why the UCLA game is the biggest game, because if we're ever going to get Livers back, their best player wasn't playing, Isaiah Livers, and they found a way. Jones found a way. Guys found a way. Brown. They played as a team, and that's what Juwan Howard, when you see the demeanor, you hear his press conferences and stuff like that, it's the way they went out and they took care of business, and they didn't look like any of a lot of other teams. Them and Gonzaga look the most like they're in control of their destiny because they figured stuff out. So it was as stress-free of a tournament game as you can watch because it was never out of hand. And then when Florida would they only made a run early in the first half. By halftime, you're up by 10 or so, and they cruised on in. And what they got to do is what you'd like to see is, you said the last 6 minutes stick. They get to rest guys,
right?
They don't have to play hard down to the end, which UCLA had to do. So hopefully that benefits them a little bit moving into this game tomorrow.
Well, and you saw when Michigan went to their bench to those young guys, you saw they were playing like it was their last time ever stepping on a court. Juwan Howard's son had a nice and one layup, and the whole crowd went nuts. The team went nuts, and you could really tell these guys are just gelling around each other. And to your point, they figured it out with each other. This was a very important layup in the game because it was very close. This is when Florida State had just cut it down.
Plus the speed, the dexterity at the rim. You see everybody locked on their guy.
One play kind of just slammed the door with like 10 minutes left in the second half. So that drive by Mike Smith there, absolutely
the spark just isn't there for the Seminoles.
Good comeback game for him, by the way. He's been fading.
Yeah,
I thought he was fading, but he showed me up again. He came back and he played a terrific game. They all did. Brandon Johns.
Dude, I mean, out of where? From where?
That's what I'm saying. This guy, first of all, no one's out-coaching Juwan Howard. They're just not out-coaching him. He's got it. Nate Oates. I love Nate Oates in Alabama. I think he got out-coached in that game.
Oh, clearly.
About UCLA.
No, Juwan Howard was in that fantastic, man. It was absolutely fantastic because they had Dickinson. They just couldn't find to get him the ball, so they'd flash a guy right to the free throw line, get him the ball there, so an easy feed in. Like, you could definitely tell this had coaching, planning, and everything behind it.
I don't know if I'd even want Isaiah Livers back at this point, to be perfectly honest. Is that crazy?
What the? What?
I'm just
saying. I don't want my best player back here. You know what? Fedorov, whatever. Just sit out in '98 all you want or whatever.
He's not
don't come back to the fight.
Well, he's not Fedorov.
I'm just saying it doesn't matter. Well, you're saying that your best player, it doesn't matter who it is.
I just made a comment.
You
Maybe
made
I don't
really
want him back.
stupid comment.
Whatever. If you call it stupid, you can call it stupid.
You don't think it was?
No, I don't think it's stupid. I'm just saying they're in a groove right now. Why screw with the groove?
Because why do you think the groove is because they surround around him to play.
Fine,
to play in order so he can come back.
Well, they got in the groove when they were out of the groove after he left. Like, he caused a major hole in the lineup, and but
okay,
I think
guys,
if you bring him back, he plays right away, and he's going to be part of the squad. I don't see bringing back your best player hurting you by any stretch, but I understand what you're saying, Maz.
You don't.
Thank you, Stupid.
Right? Stupid was a little bit harsh on that point, but to me. But what I meant is because you don't understand. Right, is that all these guys and what you've seen is because let's go back to the first game, right, that they lost to OSU, that Livers was out. They tried a different substitution. They didn't use Johns the same way. He figured it out, to Maz's point about the coaching. So these guys in the dressing room, when you're top player and you have to step up, different guys, freshmen, everything else. But it's the same sort of thing as what you saw in the high school, Michigan high school, as far as the Catholic Central JVs winning two games in order for in a smaller way, the senior team is the JV's way to find this. So they're trying to, and I use this analogy because Livers is like their varsity program, right? He's got them there. He's their best player. So the part about gelling is to be able to get him back in there. And when it comes to this, it doesn't take anything away because they all know what you see here is they are all playing their roles to the best of their ability, right? So when you get in trouble, when your top guy's out and you learn how to play, is Juwan Howard's perfect because he will use them as the asset and can use them even more. Maybe he thought that Livers is he's this and whatever else, but he's found out that he's got more to use because guys have stepped up. So
I don't know if they could play better than they did yesterday. Can they play better than they did yesterday?
At their free throws.
The last
you
two
can always
games,
play better.
The last two games, you've really shown that when this team is clicking, they're damn near impossible.
What makes
to
them
beat.
click is their D. You look at the steals. You look at the hands. You look at not taking the fouls. You look at how hard of defense they played, especially in the first half, to bring FSU to like, oh man, not one of these games where you turn them into a 3-point shooting team that couldn't shoot threes. So they have to build from there.
They wind up 5 of 20 for the game, 0 of 7 in the first half.
But you force a team into that. You force a team into that, right? It's the same thing as you mentioned, Mass Houston, number 2, facing Oregon State. Well, Oregon State's lived off that 3 ball, and if they continue to hit it, they can beat the number 2 tonight. Now, you don't expect it to happen, but that's why the tournament's here, and you're seeing a lot of great things. And it's a blessing to have it in our backyard, and I don't care if it's from State, as it usually was, or Michigan now. Let's ride them to the end, and hopefully that we'll get there to Gonzaga, right? But first, we know this UCLA team because it's like I told you. MSU, UCLA, they have that history, right? And they spark. We wanted MSU to get sparked and be here to play against Michigan. Unfortunately, it was UCLA that got sparked back in the day, and now Michigan has to take care of business. But it's everything you want.
Well, Michigan's got to take care of business tomorrow night. 9:57 is tip-off, and I know that's driving Maz insane.
It is. You know what? I've got a lot of people writing me, and I don't know why they're playing at 9:57. I know why they're playing at 9:57. They're the draw. No one gives a shit to watch Gonzaga beat the piss out of USC or wherever they're going to play.
You're wrong. Gonzaga is the number 1 seed.
I understand that, but
everybody's
no one
in
cares.
the but they're playing in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't I stick up for this because if being the number 1 team, you get the optimal time where you're in the bubble and you're here in Indianapolis the whole time. So the teams from the West shouldn't be penalized for being a 1 seed because their fan base wants to watch, right? Because it's all getting in the flow. Trust me, when you travel and time travel as much as it takes you a little bit in different places, Colorado's the hardest to adjust because of the air. You're mile high and stuff like this. Other than that, it takes you a day or two. The Gonzaga teams, the USC, all these teams are in their groove in the tournament. So the reason is you can't detriment them and make them the late game because it's the early game. You have a point to what they want to watch, but that's not.
That is the reason.
I like how Michigan is the easternmost school left in this tournament. That is hilarious to me, how there's no East Coast teams in this tournament left at all. It's all West Coast and then Michigan.
Well, here's the kicker. Al Rosenberg, who does all the games, best engineer in all of sports, radio, television. He's our own guy here in Detroit. He wrote me. He's like, Mads, don't worry about Michigan and UCLA. UCLA, they've already been here. They've been in Indianapolis for 2 weeks. The time change is not going to affect anybody. There's no advantage.
Anybody.
I'm just saying, a West Coast team playing at 10 o'clock, which is 7 o'clock their time, is a lot easier to play than an East Coast team like Michigan playing at 10 o'clock. They're going to wait around all day and play at 10 o'clock.
The point is, if you're a number 1 seed, no matter where you come
Michigan's
from.
a number 1 as well.
They're not the
number 1. So they got superseded. So your argument's out there, and the fact that the point is that you're trying to make it right for the fans. What the heck? We were a team, the Detroit Red Wings, that won games in overtime at 4 a.m.
God,
we
I
weren't
used to
worried
hate
about
those
that.
playoff
But what
series.
I'm saying is that this is strictly because of who's the overranked. It's the same thing in the other side. Who is the higher rank? So they get the better time frame because it's a lot easier, you're right, to play. But what I'm saying is they're not flying from Gonzaga over here, so they're not on the time.
I got it, man. Take it easy. Relax.
No, take it easy. But
you relax.
You can't relax because the Y is right there because Gonzaga is undefeated and they've earned it. It's not an East Coast, West Coast because it should be. It's because of the way the chips fall out.
I'm just telling you.
Trust why
me,
it is.
No one gives a shit to watch Gonzaga. They'd rather watch Michigan and UCLA.
We ain't talking about watching, but I bet you Gonzaga, the team that's undefeated, gives a shit.
But they've blown out everyone. No one. They're gonna watch that game and say, "Oh, come on, hurry up, finish this game, hurry up." I hope it's a good game. I really do hope the first game's good.
You know what? Here's our problem. You're coming to it as a fan, and I'm coming to you as a player. And
I'm coming to you as a TV guy. TV puts games on for a reason. You're coming to
me, okay, so a fan or a TV guy is not as a player, a coach, or the tournament, right? You're a caveat. So you get what we throw you.
Selfishly,
right?
I want the game at 7:30.
And it makes sense. If it was out west, right? Would it be if they did it opposite or whatever? I don't know.
I'm just saying, I think it's a detriment to Michigan that they're playing at 10 o'clock
Okay, if
at
that's
night.
what you're saying,
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's a detriment to Michigan, but understand the why is because
I
if
get
you
it.
wanted it, then then you should have won the freaking Big Ten championship
There it
and been
is.
the #1 seed overall.
The reason they're not number one is because they lost Isaiah Livers. That's why everyone shit on them and thought they're not even a number one
they
seed
didn't,
anymore.
they didn't even win the Big Ten.
I understand it. They
Speculation.
lost by a point.
I know, but they couldn't have been the #1 overall seed even if they
Maz,
didn't win
your
the
thought
Big Ten.
process sometimes has me miffed.
Whatever.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow night, 9:57, whether we like it or not, whether Michigan likes it or not. That ball is going up, and they better be ready to play UCLA and move on to the Final Four, because I want to see Juwan Howard in another Final Four. We got more matchups to break down. The Elite Eight is happening. It starts tonight. Oregon State in Houston, Arkansas and Baylor, and we're going to discuss those games coming up next.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We're recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate
of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Hey, gang, it's Maz from My Bookie. March Madness, folks. It's the Elite Eight. 2 games tonight, 2 more games tomorrow, and then, of course, the weekend, you've got the Final Four, all coming to you from Indianapolis. How do you want to bet it? There's only one way to bet it. You got to go to mybookie.ag to do it. Don't forget to use the promo code Woodward. They will match your deposit halfway up to $1,000. So get in it. That's free cash just for you. There's NBA games, NHL, UFC, whatever you want to play, you can do it on MyBookie. Prop bets, straight bets, bet with the spread, whatever you want to do, you have access to it on the phone or on your computer. Just go to mybookie.ag, use the promo code Woodward, and get that deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Thank you, Maz, for that. And like we talked about, the Elite Eight is going on tonight, kicking off tonight. Tipping off. I always say kicking off for basketball, and for some reason in my head it just drives me nuts when I make that mistake. Like, basketball doesn't kick off, it tips off.
There's only 3 periods in hockey.
That's true.
Yeah,
what happened to the fourth one?
What's that?
What happened to the fourth one?
No idea, bro. It must have been Canadian influence. You know, like the CFL, we only use 3, you guys use 4, you know, something like that.
So one time I went to a hockey game with guys who just didn't think I was a hockey fan and like didn't know that, hey, listen, I grew up in Detroit. Whether you're a fan or not, you know hockey, right?
Right.
And so we go to the Red Wings game, and I'm sitting there with them after the 3rd period, and I'm just sitting there. They're like, oh, that's it, game over. And I was like, no, there's one more quarter. And I just kept messing with them. And they looked at me like I was the dumbest person alive, and then I had to reassure them that I was joking. And then they didn't believe that I was joking, so I really just made myself look like an idiot.
That's all right. I got a buddy that buys the only likes to go to the game to buy the 50-50 tickets and says, what time do they draw at halftime?
Halftime. Yep, exactly halftime. So the 2 games tonight, fellas, we got Oregon State, number 12, taking on number 2 Houston, and number 3 Arkansas taking on number 1 Baylor. Spreads are even on both of these games, both -7.5 for obviously the higher seeds. Which game you guys looking forward to seeing the most, and which game do you think is going to be the closest?
Well, Oregon State kind of wrecked my hopes on Saturday, knocking off Sister Jean and Loyola of Chicago. So that game was one of the ugliest games I have ever seen, and they just could not get going. I went 1-3 on Saturday. I went 4-0 yesterday. Yesterday was a lot nicer than Saturday.
That's
but Saturday,
why you didn't sweat yesterday.
No, yesterday I was playing with house money most of the day. I just felt good yesterday. But, man, Oregon State just keeps winning. They're a 13 seed. I mean, a 12 seed, and they're playing number 2 Houston. Again, Houston is getting better again. They got away with murder the first round when they beat Rutgers. Rutgers should have taken them out, but Houston is good, man. I got to go. I'm taking Oregon State plus the points.
You're taking Oregon
plus the
State?
points.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
They've covered everything. They've done everything that's asked of them. How can they go against them? I'm taking the Beavers. Plus the points, maybe they win the damn game.
Listen, you got to go. This is the where you said earlier, Maz brought it up that Houston, as the 2, has only defeated double-digit seeded teams. Well, that can work against you because this Oregon State team is as hot, as Michigan is solid. right? They're shooting. They live and die by the 3 ball, and this could be one of these things where, like you said, that first round where Houston got away with murder. That if Oregon State can have them, I got them plus the points too, Maz.
Yeah.
And if out of these games, see. Baylor, I think is the team, the blowout. They just seem to be hitting their stride. I got them over Arkansas, but I think Oregon State's the upset in this Elite 8 round.
It's funny, when the tournament first started, you looked at Vegas odds for all teams to win the tournament, and Houston had better odds than Michigan, even though they were the number 2 seed. But now Vegas has come out with the new odds, and you're looking at the Zags are plus 125, Baylor plus 350, Michigan plus 500. Houston has dropped down to plus 650. So even Vegas has kind of cooled off on Houston, which is interesting to me because I always point to Vegas because they seem to know a little bit more than I do.
They do know.
USC plus 1,600, Arkansas plus 1,600, UCLA and Oregon State both plus 2,500. With that being said, though, Maz, I got to go against you, man. I don't see Houston dropping this game. I really don't.
You think they cover as well?
I think they cover as well. Yeah, this is one of those times where the magic just kind of runs out for a team, and I think that's Oregon State.
They didn't look great the other day.
No.
And they beat a team that, I don't know what the hell happened to Loyola that day. I thought they had the perfect matchup. They were favored by 7. I mean, they had everything going for them, and they didn't show. I mean, but they got suffocated. Their offense just disappeared.
Yeah, the beginning of that game was like pulling teeth. I think they had, 10 points through 7 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And I even tweeted out, I hope you have the under for this game because it was no way in hell was that coming near the over. So it was a rough game defensively. We'll see if Oregon State can take that defense and play it against Houston. What do you guys think about Arkansas and Baylor?
Baylor.
I
got this. I feel this way like you feel about Houston.
Do you?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's how I feel about this. I think that this is a double-digit win for them. I just like the way that they've played as solid throughout, even the tournament. So I didn't going into it. I wasn't sure if they were as good as advertised, but they're legit.
Yeah.
This was the round Baylor was in Ohio State's bracket, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
No, were they? I don't know.
I thought so. Anyway, I didn't have Baylor in my Final Four in a couple of brackets. I do have them in a couple of others. But there's something about this team that I just don't buy into. And I know the Michigan women should have beat the Baylor women the other night as well. Hats off to you guys. The Wolverines played awesome in the Sweet 16.
Got home safe, too.
Yeah, they got home safe after a rocky ride home on a plane. And thank God that they made it safe. But the Baylor women and the Baylor guys, here they are. Going into the Elite 8, I don't know. I don't like that spread either, to tell you the truth. I think the Hogs can cover that spread. I think Baylor wins, though, but I think it's a closer game than that number.
Yeah, you are correct. Ohio State was in the South with Baylor.
That's who I had going into my Final Four, obviously, and that killed me on all my brackets.
Yeah,
I looked at all my brackets. I have no chance to win, although I have Michigan in every single bracket winning the championship, but a couple other people have Michigan.
All 16 pools?
All 16 pools. I did not veer off. And I'm telling you, I'm patting myself on the back. I can't reach my back. I never could. I don't have very, very good flexibility. But I thought Michigan was going to go no matter what, with Livers or without. I still believe in them. And I'm not hopping on the bandwagon. I've been on that bandwagon.
Yeah, my Final Four teams were all number 1 seeds. So far, I'm looking okay, obviously, except for Illinois bowing out early. But I had Illinois beating Michigan in the championship game. So that's where I'm struggling in my bracket. But in our bracket challenge that we did with Hall Financial, after the first week, I was like 625. Then last week, I was like 4-something. Now I'm all the way up to 150 in the ranking. So
I'm like 579.
I'm climbing, baby.
I didn't even look. Am I in the toilet?
Yeah, you got all number 1s advancing, so you might be okay, Matt.
Yeah, you might be doing really well.
I wanted to lose. I want that toilet.
You're not going all the way down. I'm sorry.
The leaderboard right now is Power Play 007. Is that you?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a great Power Play 007.
Stick, you said me and Power Play. That really doesn't go together. you said Penalty Box 007.
Penalty Box 007. That's your nickname. Durf is number 2. Porky is number 3. Coach Free is number 4. And Eric76 is number 5. All of those people will be qualifying for prizes during our bracket challenge.
Prizes.
Yeah, great prizes. And then let's see who's got the toilet bowl right now.
Oh, you can see that?
Yeah, we can go all the way to last place.
Is there a battle for the bottom?
Adam Mauricio. So if you're Adam Mauricio and you're watching right now,
how much is he out of second last? Is it close or is he?
Oh, there's a lot of people tied, but he's got the lowest potential.
Ooh, wait, we like that on the hook. Low potential. Keep it down.
Hey, just like our Adam.
Right, the story of my life, for potential.
That was brutal, man. That was
Hey, got to stick it into him.
We got Anthony Broome coming up. Is he on the line right now, Adam? Okay, so we're going to talk to him coming up next. He's a Michigan insider, and we're going to have him on to talk about the game tomorrow night and a little bit about the game last night here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, I'm David Hall from Hall Financial. And at Hall Financial, we treat our clients like family. And our number one priority is giving each of our clients 5-star service. Our passion for 5-star service, combined with our expertise, allows us to find the best possible solution for refinancing your home loan. We take the time to focus on both the individual and the numbers. We're going to walk you through the process and close your loan in half the time of our competition. Go to davidhallmortgage.com today.
Welcome back to The Hook on the Woodward Sports Network, Detroit's all-digital sports network. Thank you to everybody that's checking in on all of our social media platforms at Woodward Sports, and, of course, everybody listening on the app right now, which is free on Google and Apple Play. So thank you for downloading that. We appreciate you. On the phone, joining us right now, his name, Anthony Broome. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Good to be back here with you guys.
Hey, Ant. Good to have you, man. Great to have you. Anthony Broome, of course, from Maize and Brew. And, of course, SB Nation, covers Michigan basketball, football, whatever. And, hey, Ant, yesterday, terrific game. Probably their best game they played all year. Took Florida State out of their game. Dominated. Hunter Dickinson looks great. What was your take on the game?
Well, I'm with you. I mean, it was as clinical a performance as we've seen throughout this year. And it echoed a lot of those impressive games that we've seen throughout the year, where Michigan kind of starts out a little bit slow. You're feeling out the opponent. You go into the locker room with a lead, but arguably feeling like you could be up by more points than that, and then you blink, and at the end of the game, clock hits 0, and it's kind of a casual blowout where the bench gets empty. So the fact that they've been able to do that at all without Isaiah Livers is incredibly impressive. But now we've kind of seen it 2 games in a row, and what it is, it's a team that is hitting its stride at the right time. Insert all March Madness cliches here. That's what Michigan is right now, and looking every bit the team that they did pre-Livers injury right now without him. So it's insanely impressive. To outcoach a guy, not just outcoach Leonard Hamilton. Juwan Howard coached circles around him yesterday. Just from top to bottom, everyone had a moment. The game plan was great. It was executed almost flawlessly, and up and down the roster, you're getting contributions from everyone. So that's just more of that championship DNA that we've seen them flex throughout the year.
Anthony Broome from Maize and Brew, DMAC here. Will you tell Maz, please, why the fact that if they win, is there an opportunity for Isaiah Livers to play in the Final Four game or moving forward? I know we shouldn't look past UCLA, but if they do beat UCLA, is there an opportunity for him to at least play limited minutes?
I don't think so. This is a situation where I think it would probably take an active divine intervention. I mean, he's dealing with a stress fracture in his foot. By all accounts, that's a 4 to 6 to 8 week type recovery, and the buzz has been that he's not going to be there. So, is it possible that maybe he can make some kind of cameo appearance as a decoy or check into the late stages of a game? Maybe. I don't see it, though. I think that they've moved on. Not moved on. He's still a pretty big part of that team with his presence on the sideline and in the locker room and in practices, but it just doesn't look like it's going to happen for him, which sucks, because he's going to go down as one of the winningest players in program history. To not be there at the end, it stinks. But he's stayed positive. He's been there for him. The guys have rallied around him, and they're not a better team without him. But it's just another challenge that they've had to fight through and get through as they continue to go on this little run they're on.
Yeah, well, you mentioned divine intervention. Now that Sister Jean's out, maybe she can show some love, right?
Yeah, that connection's there. Just dial her up on the, but we're talking about divine intervention and, magic. There's some really weird voodoo Bill Walton stuff going on right now with the Pac-12 doing as well as it has in this tournament. So A lot of forces at play, but hey, if Sister Jean says an extra Hail Mary or whatever, I wouldn't hate it.
Hey, Brandon Johns, man. I mean, he came out of nowhere. And this is the guy that right now is taking Isaiah Livers' spot. And I jokingly said earlier to the guys, hey, if Isaiah Livers was able to come back, he's not like 100% or all, he might upset the apple cart the way they're going right now. I got abused for it, by the way.
Yeah, well, it's there are teams that kind of talk about it, the next man up mentality, the all hands on deck. And then there are teams that are about it or that continue to be about it. And that's what's really impressive about this Michigan team is that to lose a guy like that who, heartbeat of your team, gives you 13, 14-ish points a game. For you, first of all, they're extremely fortunate that they're able to replace a guy like that with someone who was a former top 70 recruit but hadn't played up to his potential. But Brandon Johns right now is playing the best basketball of his career over an extended stretch of time. And what that's allowed them to do, when Livers was there, you're getting starting minutes out of Livers. Brandon Johns comes in, gives you 10 to 15 good minutes a game. And then maybe you get Terrence Williams in there for some mop-up duty. So talking about that next man up type of mentality, Brandon Johns comes in now, plays Isaiah Livers minutes, is giving you maybe not the same type of game, but giving you Isaiah Livers type production. And then Terrence Williams, a guy who gets knocked up into that Johns role and is giving you like 10 minutes of good basketball each game. It just speaks to first of all the depth that they've built, but also Juwan Howard is a guy who said all year, be ready or stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's the situation they found themselves in. It's how they've approached their preparation. And like I said, there was that one game against Ohio State where everything kind of didn't look great, but with time to prepare and time to adjust to life without Livers, they've done as good a job as you can possibly do. It's so impressive how everyone stepped up and kind of they've kind of Frankensteined a replacement for Livers in the form of getting contributions from everyone.
Yeah, we're starting to see Shondy Brown really come into his own. The last two games, I'm looking at this guy as somebody who now I could see him probably not being a high NBA draft pick, but I could see him contributing NBA minutes. And this is kind of like the ideal story for somebody like him. Transfer from Wake Forest, come to Michigan, put your name back on the map, have some big moments. How do you feel he's looking going forward in this tournament? Is he going to be a bigger part of this piece?
Well, I think he's been a pretty big part of this team throughout the year. He's a guy who really, Shondy Brown's a guy who started at Wake Forest, transfers, probably could have started for almost any team in the country, honestly. I mean, outside of maybe, some of the elite teams, but comes to Michigan. It just so happens his role is that he's going to be the sixth man. He's going to be the Energizer Bunny, that guy that comes off the bench and kind of is a jolt of lightning for that second unit. And there have been a lot of times this year where Michigan has struggled in the first 6 to 8 minutes of a game, and Shondy Brown checks in, and the entire vibe changes. He's the type, he's athletic. He gets after it on both ends of the floor. He raises the play of everyone around him. When I watch him play, I see a guy who, again, maybe he's a second-round pick. Who knows? But I see no reason why he can't be a guy that maybe he goes undrafted but cracks a summer league roster and then works his way into kind of a back end of the roster role. I do think he's an NBA player. Offensively, he's been inconsistent, a little streaky at times, but every night the guy is just leaving it all on the floor, especially on the defensive end, which, again, to get that out of someone who's coming off the bench for you, it's invaluable and really just it's another feather in Juwan Howard's cap of roster building and acquisition and just kind of hitting home runs in the way he's built this thing through 2 years.
Anthony Broome from SB Nation and Mason Brew joining us here on The Hook. All right, tomorrow night, UCLA. Obviously, here in Michigan, we wish that was the journey that the Spartans took. So we're talking Michigan State, but it's not. What challenges does UCLA pose for Michigan, and if Michigan's going to come out on top, what is the most important thing for them to do?
Well, I think first and foremost what sticks out is the shot making, the clutch shot making. I mean, UCLA was a team that I think, lost 4 games in a row coming into the tournament. You're one of those first 4 teams in, and then you have a win like that over that first 4 game over Michigan State, and you just from there you just kind of get hot. Like they're kind of the poster team for getting hot and seeing what happens this time of year in the NCAA tournament. Now, I think that up and down the roster, I think Michigan is probably better at just about every position. I think they'll have the size advantage inside with Hunter Dickinson again. But again, if they're just a little bit late getting to the perimeter, I think this is a UCLA team that can make them pay for that. So that's something to be on alert about. And we've seen at times where Michigan, not just this year and last year, but over the last, maybe decade of extended success, sometimes they go cold and can't hit the broadside of a barn. So again, I think the matchup favors them in that if they don't shoot that great from the perimeter, they should still be okay given how Dickinson's playing, how Johns is playing. But it would be the human element to go, geez, I mean, we expected to play Alabama. Now we're going to play all that stands in our way is an 11 seed to get to the Final Four. They've done a really good job of staying in the moment and focusing on the task at hand. But there is that human element of maybe letting your foot off the gas. They need to be on high alert still. I think they will be. I wouldn't put it past them. This is an 11 seed, but there's analytics sites like KenPom still have UCLA ranked as like the number 16 team in the country. So this is not a pushover. It's not a guarantee. You're not in the Final Four yet. You got to take care of your business, and I expect them to.
All right, who are your picks, man? Besides Michigan, we got Michigan now. Who do you like tonight in the 2 games tonight, and then Gonzaga and USC tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I think I like the favorites tonight. I haven't been an Arkansas fan since this tournament started, so I think Baylor, team that's hitting their stride, probably should have no problem moving out of the Final Four. Oregon State, kind of like UCLA, in that they've just gotten hot. And, if you get hot on the right time of year and the right night, I could see them giving Houston problems. But I do think, again, I'm going chalk tonight. I do think it will be Baylor and Houston.
And do you think USC can give Gonzaga a run? I think they could play within the spread, personally.
I think so too. Gonzaga, everyone says they haven't played anyone this year. It's not true. They played Kansas, they played Virginia, they played West Virginia, they played Iowa, but they haven't seen a team like how USC is playing yet. And like I said, this Gonzaga team is as advertised. They've sandblasted just about everyone they've played this year. I don't know if USC will win, but I think they have the ingredients to not only give them a game, but again, on the right night this time of year, nobody's safe. So yeah, I think that's. If you're asking me which game of the 2 tomorrow that I expect to be more competitive, my gut says it will be Gonzaga USC, but I do think that we should be in for 2 pretty entertaining basketball games.
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up like that, man.
This is great.
Yeah, I'm to the point now where I feel like I'm at the end of football season, and I'm starting to get that sadness where, there's only so many games. Like when I was watching Michigan play yesterday, I was thoroughly enjoying watching them play basketball so much. I'm like, I want more of this. I need more than just potentially 3 more games.
That's all you're getting, Stick.
I'm with you. I'm with you guys. You're starting to get a little bit sad here, but knowing what's on the table, that we could still have a Final Four with 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed, it's we get to eat our cake or have our cake and eat it too. We'd have all those upsets last weekend, and then to look at the potential of what next weekend could be, it's been about as fun a tournament as you could ask for, given that we didn't have one last year. So I'm looking forward to all of it, and we'll savor every minute of every game that's left.
Anyway, I can't let you go without talking about Michigan football and Jim Harbaugh. You got a spring game coming up pretty soon here. I know you're going to get excited about that. So if we lose basketball, at least we know we got college football right around the corner. And of course, NFL draft is number 1 on our sheets right now.
Yeah, well, Michigan's not even going to do an open practice or a spring game. So, woohoo! Feel the excitement. I sure can right now. You can hear my voice, I hope.
We can. And hey, thanks a million for coming on. You're a gem. Keep up the great work, Anthony. Anthony, former intern at 105.1 with me back in the day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was our gem, obviously. Look what he's doing nowadays. A lot of my interns back in the day are kicking ass right now on the airwaves. So congratulations, Ant. Keep it going,
man. Little Maslets are out there. Growing.
The
That's it.
Maslet.
The Maslet
I
Court.
love that. Thank you for joining us, Anthony. We appreciate it. It's The Hook on the Woodward Sports Network. When we come back, something happened in the Silverdome 34 years ago today. And you may have some thoughts about what's popping in your head right now, but I remember this. I wasn't old enough to really remember it, but it's still vivid in my imagination and my reality. So we're going to talk about what that event was coming up next.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys and ladies. This is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Welcome back to The Hook on the Woodward Sports Network, Detroit's all-digital sports network. My name is Stick with Maz and, of course, D-Mac. And this is The Hook. We do it every day, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5. Normally, Pilar is sitting here. She is out till, I believe, Wednesday. Then Pilar will come back. So 34 years ago today, D-Mac, I know this is like your sweet spot.
It's wheelhouse.
So I'm going to let you take the honors and do what you do best.
Well, you know what? We all have times and places when we were alive that we missed out on. And this, to me, is one of the ones that I watched, but I missed out on it live. But as reported, I think, Vince McMahon, there's your key. So we're talking Silverdome. We're talking WrestleMania 3. And we were talking about it before where, as you see, yes, Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan in the match of the century. And if you're a wrestling fan or you have any inkling of this was the changing of the guard. And there it is, folks. Hulk Hogan.
How did he do that?
Not on any steroids or anything, I'm sure. Picked up the 500 and some pound Andre the Giant. Yes, the same Andre the Giant who was in The Princess Bride. And he slammed him in front of, Vince said 90,000. But
look
it
at
would,
that.
Look at that
See, the
Silverdome.
picture don't lie. And a lot of things. And I remember, Maz, like that's the Silverdome of growing up.
I love you,
But for the
Silverdome.
wrestling events, and people asked, so 1987, which was such a huge event, the popularity of wrestling, I believe in my heart of hearts that wrestling's back. As far as the only thing is as far as opening up. Now this year, WrestleMania down in Tampa, Florida, where they played the Super Bowl, is 2 nights, and they're on WrestleMania 37.
They're taping
from on
it,
now.
I think.
But some of the things is even though we were talking about it, but just the names in this WrestleMania, because you had Roddy Piper, Adrian Adonis, remember those names? Harley Race, Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Junkyard Dog,
JYD.
Was the Iron Sheik there yet or not yet?
the Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik
There you
defeated
go.
the Killer Bees.
Yes.
But they cheated, of course. There's the whole
Jake
they
the
cheated.
Snake Roberts, baby.
Yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts, who's now over in AEW Impact. So the biggest match or whatever that I remember was the Ricky Steamboat beating Randy Savage for the title. But guys, do you know what?
Was Eddie Venom there?
What's that?
Was Eddie Venom there?
Well, you know what? I'm going to find out. Let's ask Eddie Venom himself. We have him on the line, J.R. Adams, a.k.a. Eddie Venom, a dear friend of mine. Thanks for joining us here. How you doing today, bud?
I'm good, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me
Hey,
on. I
Jay.
appreciate it.
And oh yeah, that's
Man.
like actually a nice photo of him right there. He's a lot meaner and stuff. But Jay, tell me this, because obviously you being a professional stuntman, you being in the wrestling business over the years, what do you remember of WrestleMania 3 and the Silverdome and Hulk slamming Andre?
Well, WrestleMania 3 was really the thing that really was like the turning point in pro wrestling in the 80s. This is the thing. They had gotten some popularity. They had WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, but WrestleMania 3 with 91,000 people at the Silverdome, this is what the biggest event that had ever happened in wrestling. And like you said, I heard you on there, it was a changing of the guard. Hulk Hogan was a champion. He had been the champion for 3 years, but Andre the Giant was undefeated. And so the storyline rolled through where, you know, they were on Piper's Pit, and that famous scene where Andre turns on Hogan and he goes to rip his shirt, but he ends up ripping his crucifix off as well. And it sent shockwaves through the wrestling community because Andre the Giant was always a big babyface. And for him to turn on his best friend Hulk Hogan like that and then demand a match at WrestleMania, this was huge. And it became one of the biggest events of all time. I mean, they had different, like Mary Hart was there, Bob Uecker, Alice Cooper, Aretha Franklin. They brought in celebrities for this show, and it was the biggest. It had broken records for indoor attendance for an event until, you know, it held that for quite a few years.
So how can you, because you obviously I was 15 at the time, so you're younger than me, but obviously this sort of, from a wrestling perspective, the Eddie Venom in you projected you into wrestling. Because even still today, everybody knows WrestleMania 3 is where Hogan slammed Andre.
7'4", 520 pounds. How the hell did he do it? How the hell did he do that?
There's
Well, that's the thing. That's
Go ahead.
the thing. If Andre the Giant wouldn't have wanted him to body slam him, he would not have.
Yes.
And HBO last year had a great documentary on Andre the Giant. Strong human being. You only did to him what he allowed you to do. So Hogan, it was pretty funny listening to Hogan talk about it. He had the whole match, you know, worked out in his head, and he was like, "Is this okay? Is this okay?" And Andre didn't really give him many answers. He didn't really say yes or no. He just kind of like, okay, boss. And so Hogan really didn't know until the time came whether Andre was going to do the job for him, whether he was going to, pass the torch. And it turned out he did. And, you know, there's a thing in wrestling called posting, where you're helping the guy out that's picking you up, because, you know, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm 6'7", 275 pounds, but I can easily allow a 150-pound guy to pick me up by helping him out, and that's what Andre did. Now Hogan always says that he tore his pec on that. I'm not sure if he actually did or not, but he always says that when he flipped him over and slammed him, he tore his pec on that. But again, I'm not sure if that actually happened. That is something that Hogan always says. But this is a huge event, like I said. I mean, it got so much national coverage, where wrestling didn't really get that kind of national coverage. You know, there used to be territories. All the wrestling was split up into different territories around the country. Vince McMahon was the first one to bring all those territories into one big national territory and have one national show. So this got a lot of attention. And honestly, pro wrestling wouldn't be as popular as it is without WrestleMania 3 and without Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, because it was that classic underdog, you know, is the David and Goliath story, basically, with how big Andre the Giant was. And so this is what really captured the imaginations of people like me that became a pro wrestler years later. That whole storytelling behind it is what really captured people's imaginations, and that's what really made wrestling as popular as it is today.
For a guy talking to Jay Adams, a.k.a. Eddie Venom, buddy of mine, obviously a professional wrestler and stuff, what do we see in today? Because I believe, obviously, you know what a wrestling head I am, and the fact that the Forbidden Door or the territories, what the AEW, Impact, and New Japan, and these different factions sort of getting together, we haven't really seen it, the impact or how many people that wrestling has appealed to during this COVID time. Do you think when they open things up again, we have the ability to see certain matches or sellouts like this in arenas and things when COVID's over?
Oh yeah, definitely. As soon as people are allowed to do it, they will do it, because people are itching. You know, WWE's done a really good job with their whole Thunderdome thing, where they have the screens where people can watch on Zoom, and it looks like there's a crowd in the audience. They've done a really good job with that. But wrestling is an audience-based sport. Like I've had discussions with you many times, Darren, where I didn't know exactly what I was going to do out there. I always worked off of the crowd, and I would, depending on what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to go faster, whether I wanted to go slower, was all depending on the audience reaction. So when COVID hit and all of a sudden they couldn't do shows, there was a little bit of a lapse there in the first few months when they were first doing wrestling in empty arenas and things like that. You could tell they were learning how to do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't comfortable for them. You could tell it was a little awkward, and it took some time to get into the swing of things. But once they started getting into things, now, I mean, certain companies have the other wrestlers in the crowd as the crowd. And like I said, WWE has the Thunderdome thing, but they're learning how to do it without a crowd. But I guarantee every single one of those wrestlers is dying to be in front of a real crowd, because that's where you really get the experience of everything. That's where that's where the excitement comes in, and that's where your adrenaline kicks in, and that's when those matches become magical. Because there's been some great matches right now with no audiences. There's been some cool things that have been done, but it's just not the same for the wrestlers as having that audience right there that they can feed off of.
And that, talking to Jay Adams, that absolutely excites me, because you as a performer saying that, the adrenaline that you get off the crowd, just because you look at the way that these guys, these wrestlers, they've put on the matches from WWE, AEW, Impact without fans, where they've learned it's only going to make them better. Before we let you go, bud, give people a few of the things that you got going, or some of the, I know that you... being stunt double for Ryan, tell people about doing that back in the day. Yeah. A couple of things that you've done, and also too, let Maz know how's that truck running.
Yeah, I sold you that truck from Zott Ford.
That's right. I'm sitting in it right now. Actually, I love this truck. My wife gets jealous of it because I treat it a little bit nicer than her. No, I've been very lucky in my career. I was a pro wrestler for 12 years. I traveled all over the Midwest, Canada. I wrestled for WWE a few times, for TNA Impact a couple times. And back in 2011, I broke my back in the ring. So I thought it would be a good time to transition into a new job, and so I got into stunt work and film and television. So
something easier, right?
But, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But actually, it's been great. I've been very, very lucky. I've been able to do a lot of great TV shows. As Darren was saying, I got to stunt double for an actor named Ryan Hurst, who he was very famous for. Well, he's in Remember the Titans. He was Gary Bertier, but later on he became really, really popular. He was in Sons of Anarchy. He played Opie, and we did a show called Outsiders for 2 seasons. I got to do all his stunts on that. I've got to do a lot of fun shows. A couple episodes of Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck and with Donnie Wahlberg. I've done an episode of Chicago PD. Marvel's Punisher. I got to play Metropolis Cop in Batman vs Superman.
Ooh.
I had a really fun role on Showtime's Ray Donovan. Got to have a big fight scene with Dash Mihawk, which is one of the lead characters on Ray Donovan, and that was a great time.
You beat him up too.
I just did a Disney movie recently that'll be out next Christmas.
Look at you.
A Disney Christmas movie. So just been trying to stay busy. Going down to Atlanta this month to meet with some stunt coordinators about working down there, and just trying to keep myself busy. I like to work. I don't like to sit still. So.
Well, you're the man, Jay, as always.
Thanks, Jay.
I'll probably see you later on, but thanks for a little bit of insight, and remember, and it's this is an important day, 34 years ago.
That's right, man. Thanks for coming on
Absolutely.
with us, Jay.
And if thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I just launched jadamstunts.com, so you can go on there, and it's got all my social media, and it's got a bunch of videos of some of the commercials and TV shows I've done, so you can check out all my stuff there. I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, man. We'll have you in studio one of these days.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
All right,
Jay.
Adams, Jay Adams Stunts. You can check him out. Thanks for that, Maz.
Guy's
put a little wrestling in
He's a
for
big
me.
pussycat too, man.
Oh yeah,
6'7", 275 pounds, and such a good, cool dude. And
he's been one of my. We've been friends since like the early '90s and stuff like that.
He's a pro wrestler and a freaking look at all the stuff he's done.
And he
for
can
stunts.
install your cable too.
Yeah, he's pretty darn good.
You know those pro wrestlers feed off the audience, like he was talking about. Like, you used to see it all the time with Hulk Hogan, just like looking at his fist, like all because everybody was going nuts for him.
Right, and hey, trust me, as a guy that fought in hockey, on the ice or whatever, the adrenaline, like my favorite, you get in that fight, but that skate to the penalty box or off the ice when the fans are all on their feet cheering, like to absorb that is that there is something to it.
Especially last Friday.
Especially last
Friday.
Friday.
What you got to say, Fish?
D-Mac, you're a wrestling guy, right?
I absolutely am, Fish.
What do you think about good old Logan Paul going on WrestleMania? You got thoughts?
Well, it's as long as he gets his ass slammed, I don't care. No, I mean, obviously, Fish, you got to understand. Vince McMahon that's the dictatorship, WWE. It's the same thing with putting Bad Bunny on there. Bad Bunny, who, if you haven't heard of, is one of the biggest
rappers.
Yeah, Latino rapper.
Yeah, but in the world and stuff like this. So Vince is smart as far as his marketing because it's all about the views. So I just hope he gets his ass kicked, but that's like everybody else. But again, he's got to be doing something right to get the attention at the top. So again,
he's the old school
don't
boxing
hate the
guy.
player, hate the game.
Exactly. Like he's pulling a page out of Don King's book. Just make noise, get people to hate you, show up and make that money.
And he's got a hot chick, man. Julia Rose, the girl that flashed us all a couple of World Series ago.
Well, that's what she does. That's what she's known for.
Yeah, that's all she does.
Is she gets topless at events.
Shag, mag. I mean, she's all right. She's on top of her game.
I'm sure that's not all she does.
Well, that's what made her infamous, was just showing these anywhere, anytime, and especially at ball games. And that's a good way to pick up male fans. Yeah. It really is. She
won me over.
Yep, apparently, Maz really likes her. What you got, Fish?
That must be Jake Paul, because Logan Paul's girlfriend is Josie Cancino.
Okay.
Canseco.
Maybe you're right.
Is it Jose Canseco's daughter?
It is. It is.
Oh my God. They broke up. Oh, that's so sad.
Hey, guess what? They broke up.
I don't like any of those Pauls. How's that?
No, I don't either. But they are making money, so I can't hate on them for that. And we gotta take a quick break. When we come back, Maz is gonna update us on the latest in the news going around Metro Detroit.
Check my phone.
Yeah, better get on that.
Hey, it's Stick, and I am live right now inside Grow Green. If you go to growgreenmi.com right now, take advantage of their dank deals. They got everything so you can grow the best possible product you can. Even nutrients, water, and look, you just turn around and your very own. Now that he's fully bloomed, he's beautiful and ready to go. Thank you, Grow Green, for supplying us with everything we need.
Even at Grow Green, I think they got something that we can kill that type of plant with, But we're not talking Grow Green. That was last read because, guys, every day is game day in March. Look your best through all of the madness. Check out the newest Lady Jane's on the corner of Grand River and Whitmore Lake Road in Brighton, or our Grand Blanc location on Saginaw Street next to AutoZone. Let one of Lady Jane's award-winning stylists treat you like a king. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
Yeah, that's how you got to say it, man.
It's wicked awesome.
All right, Maz, let's update everybody on the latest in the news going around.
All right, brought to you, as always, by MyBookie. Check them out at mybookie.ag. Don't forget, your promo code Woodward. They will match your first deposit halfway, up to $1,000. That's free money for you. March Madness continues tonight. See? It wasn't last week, we could have been done yesterday as far as we could have had our Final Four. Now we get bonus basketball today and tomorrow. 2 games tonight in the Elite 8. 13 Oregon State, make that 12. Taking on number 2 Houston. The Cougars favored by 7.5. They will get going right around 7:15 tonight. Number 1 Baylor, number 3 Arkansas is the nightcap. Baylor favored by 7.5. If Houston wins, they will beat the 12-seed Oregon State. The Cougars will be the first team to reach a Final Four without ever facing a single-digit seed. 2001 MSU Spartans came close to that. They faced a 16, a 9, a 12, and an 11 to make it to the Final Four. Yesterday, of course, Michigan beat Florida State 76-58. Could have been a lot more than that. They took it easy at the end. Hunter Dickinson was terrific. So Michigan makes the Elite 8 again against UCLA tomorrow night at 9:57. They have the nightcap. The early game will be Gonzaga and USC tomorrow. I got a cut from Jawan Howard talking about his squad, how they're not a soft squad. They're just good kids.
That's what we're here for, to empower these young men who's put in a lot of hard work and effort each and every day in practice, games. If you break their confidence, then they will not be able to go out there and compete at a high level. The trust is earned not only just from the players, but also coaches. We have to earn their trust. And so with all the work that we put in practice, we see what our guys provide from a skill level, also being neck up, and then also the hard work they bring in with the energy and effort.
I think we've seen all season that we have multiple guys that can score a lot of points, that are great shooters from the outside and are a threat offensively. For myself, I think I always try to attack the basket, be aggressive. But like I said, I think all that only happens when we move the ball. And
Franz Wagner trying to follow in his brother Mo's footsteps. Kid is so good, solid player. Really put the game on his back a lot of times yesterday in that game. A double-double for him. They will be the nightcap at 9:57. The early game tomorrow at 7:15. Number 1 Gonzaga. Number 6 USC. The Zags a 9-point favorite in that game. Michigan's 7.5-point favorite over UCLA.
I like that.
You like to cover that?
I do.
All right, we'll talk about it. Rocket Watts, by the way, in the transfer portal for Michigan State. We'll see how that shakes out and why he is in that transfer portal. Pistons host the Raptors tonight. They've lost 4 in a row. Toronto's lost 11 of 12. They have no home. They're playing in Tampa Bay. They'll tip tonight at the LCA at 8 o'clock. Tigers beat the Yankees today 5-2. Just one more preseason game, Grapefruit League game. Tomorrow they take a day off, and then they will play for real against the Indians on Thursday, April the 1st, Darren's birthday, opening day, 8,200 fans expected. No tailgating, though, in this one. We'll talk about that. NFL doing us all a favor, taking away a preseason game and adding a 17th regular season game. There's the newly proposed 17 games. The Lions will get the Denver Broncos if this goes through. Peter King says it should be a done deal by midweek. They will not take an extra bye week yet. They'll probably change the schedule a little bit going forward in another year or two. But right now, they will play 17 games in 18 weeks. Eventually, you're going to have the Super Bowl. I've been saying it for years. You'll have it on President's Weekend in February, eventually, probably within the next 3 years or so. So, by the way, Deshaun Watson, it's not looking good for this guy right now. A lawsuit count up to 18, and we're going to talk about this in this upcoming hour. He has reached out to a few of these women, a few of these plaintiffs, and tried to settle something with them. He is erasing Instagrams and DMs and all kinds of stuff. It's not looking good for Deshaun Watson right now. We've been talking about this for a long time, but it looks like it's all coming to fruition, unfortunately. Better times. This was from 1992. To me, the best ever game finish in college basketball. It didn't happen today. It happened yesterday in 1992, but I had to do it. Grant Hill to Christian Laettner in Philly. I mean, come on. 2 it up, man. Let's see it easy.
Quick pass to half court and call a quick timeout so they can get in better shooting range.
There's the pass to Laettner. Puts it up. Yes!
Look at Thomas Hill. I love that look. Oh, my God. Grant Hill, perfect pass to Christian Laettner, the man that everyone loves to hate. Great 30 for 30 on him, by the way. He's not a bad guy, man. He's just got a bad rap.
My favorite quote ever is "Nobody boos a bench player," and that's Christian Laettner.
I love him.
Well, heck, and that's why.
I mean, he was a real asshole. He really was. He got under your skin like nobody.
He won. He won, and that's all that matters.
Lambeer.
He was
without being like overly physical or stuff like that, but just everybody just sort of hated him in the fact that he was from Duke and stuff like that. But clutch, and you want to see clutch. Here's the thing. He knew exactly what he was going to do when he got the ball because he had time to make that fake, turn him off.
And dribble.
Right, that's what I mean.
Crazy, right.
Mm-hmm. So that's the whole thing, is that the execution right there is sort of what we were talking to Anthony Broome about what, Juwan Howard's talking about, getting back to Franz Wagner. It's the execution. And speaking of Wagner, you see how when they get him going, especially when they're going earlier and he gets confident, that's a different team. So that's somebody to look forward to. But yeah, you can't beat that play. That's one of the greatest.
I had to play it, even though it was from yesterday.
I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
Even if it was Claude Lemieux doing something like that, you have to play it.
Good thing he never did anything like that, though.
I can play you something, of course, being in a Michigan mode right now. How about, remember Trey Burke back in 2013 against Kansas? Let's bring that up. Trey Burke, take us home, man.
3-point game.
Listen to Marv Albert.
Moves it down. 5 seconds.
That's a Steph Curry three.
He's tied it.
Look at where that's from. That's the note where they put the ribbon.
Right.
What's that?
The Rock and Jock 10-point shot
Yeah,
right there.
no, seriously. That should have been a 4-pointer.
That was beautiful. Trey Burke, man.
If you remember, that was the team that slid off the runway. You remember that?
I sure do.
It kind of like
You brought
bonded
that
their
up this
team
morning.
together.
Yeah.
And then the women's team that just got knocked out of the tournament had plane issues as well.
They had the oxygen mask coming
University
down.
of Michigan, make sure you're checking your planes before you put your basketball teams on them. That's all I'm asking.
By the way, that Michigan team should have won the championship.
Yes.
They let it go. Louisville came back and won that game by 6. Such a close game.
The Pistons could have drafted Trey
They
Burke,
could have.
but
They
they
could
took
have had him.
Civi, wasn't that his name? The other point guard from Louisville who beat us. It was not great.
Not great at all.
Not a great draft.
And a hats off to Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose. He is 66 years old now. I know I'm an old guy, NFL Hall of Famer. Earl Campbell just left it all on the field. Look at this cut from Earl
Is him
Campbell.
running out of his jersey?
This is him hitting Isaiah Robertson right in his chest.
Look, there he's got the jersey.
Look at him. Love you, Blue.
Oh, I love that.
I love.
Sort of taunted the guy with the ball, too.
Look at him. Earl Campbell, 66 today, could barely walk now, by the way. But he left it all on the field, this man. I'll never forget him against the Miami Dolphins on that Monday Night Football game. Over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that 78-yard touchdown scamper to put away the Dolphins that night. But Earl Campbell, 66 years old today. I love those Houston Oilers powder blues, the Astrodome, the House of Pain, they used to call that place. Man, I wish the Oilers were still around.
Yeah, well, they are in the form of the Texans
Yeah,
or the
but,
Titans, however you want to consider.
I know.
What do you consider? Do you consider Houston the Oilers, or do you consider the Titans the Oilers?
That's a good point. I wish when they brought Houston back, they would have just called them the Oilers.
Right.
They didn't. They wanted a whole new thing, the Texans,
Yeah,
which
that
was an
worked out for
AFL
them.
team, which was the Kansas City Chiefs name in the AFL. They were called the Dallas Texans.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Similar to what they did with the Pelicans and
Yes.
the Bobcats. It's like, no, Charlotte's the Hornets.
They
Let's,
are.
look, can we stop this? Charlotte's the Hornets.
I know.
Grandmama Johnson, Charlotte
Amen.
Hornets. So you were talking about Campbell. We got another Campbell, obviously our coach here, Mr. Kneecaps himself. And by the
Alpha
way,
positive.
if you want this shirt, it's available right now at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop.
And the Alpha one.
Yeah, and we got the True Alpha shirt up there, too. Dan Campbell spoke to the media today. We're going to cover what he said coming up next on the Woodward Sports Network. Welcome back to The Hook on the Woodward Sports Network, Detroit's all-digital sports network. My name is Stick with Tom Mazaway and Darren McCarty. So we were talking about Dan Campbell a little bit. He did a press conference interview. But let's get into kind of the bigger picture of the NFL right now is the fact that they're adding another game. And Darren, I want to kick this off with you because we were talking a little bit about it this morning. As a professional athlete, if they obviously NFL is completely different because they only play 16 games. Adding a 17th isn't quite the same. But let's say they added 5 to 10 more games to the NHL season. Would you have been okay with that as a player?
It's a different beast. I think you got to take each league and to see the whys of it, and eventually, because with the NFL, obviously money talks, and everything is with the TV deal and stuff. That I believe they're eventually trying to figure out the 18th, how to figure 18 games. Where you're a player, what you're looking at is okay, they're taking away an exhibition game, and it's sort of like you're getting paid for the game. So it's not really changing the fact of how you get paid, even though maybe in the future guys will make just a little bit more. But guys would rather play the extra game for real than to not get paid for it. Right. So whether it's the same sort of thing, but your mentality, and if it gives with the expansion of playoff teams, and it gives an opportunity for more teams to get in and stuff like that, then as a player, Yeah, 5 or 10 games in the NHL, no bueno. Let's get to the playoffs. There's too many to begin with. So,
well, because I'm seeing a lot of pushback from all the NFL players, like Alvin Kamara.
Oh, he's all over it.
He's like very vocal about how he doesn't want to do this, and a lot of the NFL players are just mad in general that this happened. But it was a part of the collective bargaining agreement that they just recently signed, and supposedly this isn't a direct trade-off, but they got weed. So they got the extra game.
No, I mean, there's something in there. So, I mean, there's the trade-off to whatever else. And if cannabis is a trade-off, then the one game.
So would you have played an extra 10 games if you could have smoked weed playing hockey?
You're talking to the wrong guy. You want me to play 40 more games? Let's go. I don't care. I'll play all year round.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing because, like I said this morning, you grow up, and when you were playing Little League hockey, if someone's like, hey, we're going to add 2 more games to your schedule, you were the happiest kid in the world, right? But now that they're pros and they're getting paid and they're putting their life and money and their body on the line, it's not as exciting for them to get this extra game.
The thing is, but here's the thing. All the games that they've done and all the thing they played when they're younger doesn't get erased because they play an extra game. I sort of get it.
Right.
It's what do you got to get there, and you got to look at the pros and cons and the whys, right? So the thing is, you might not be happy about it, right? But if you got concessions the other way, one of the big things in the collective bargaining from 2004 or 5 with the NHL was the Bob Boughner rule. What's the Bob Boughner rule? 10 years or 400 games, you get your own room because you still have roommates on the road. But if you're a 10-year vet or a 400-game vet, you have your own room. That's nice. A big deal, but that's a concession, and those are the things, the caveats. Now, do I believe that the cannabis caveat for a game, if that was it is, yes, that's a huge benefit for them in the long run because it's health and wellness and everything else, education, the CBDs, the CBNs, getting them off the pills. I was having this talk yesterday with former Wolverine Mike Martin, right, who Tennessee Titan, stuff like that, and he's complaining about his knee and stuff like that, but the conversation of because
give that roll on.
What?
Give him that Mac
roll on.
I
already did, bro.
Okay.
Taken care of, baby.
But the whole thing, no, he's involved in it, but it's because his main thing is because of the opiates that were given in the NFL and stuff like that to him and his brethren. So we're all fighting the same sort of fight. So I think this is the best thing moving forward. Now, they're really not going to be happy when they have to play 18 games because that's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. But an extra bye week is going to come as well. They are going to change this schedule going forward, but they had to start somewhere. That's why you see this 17th game, and they're showing you, well, this is how we're going to do it. And we could put up that graphic again when you get a minute, Easy. All the week 17 games, and one of these games is Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not sure if it's going to mean anything at that point because usually at the end of the season, everything is completely done. People are getting rested. A lot of these games, they don't care. Remember the Chiefs? They kind of let things go at the end of the year. They lose that last game. They weren't as sharp as they were going into the playoffs. And, of course, a lot of things happened. Tampa Bay played great defense. The head coach, Andy Reid's son, had a terrible accident, which cost them a lot. A lot of things could happen, but it's going to change. Like I said, this season is going to go almost towards the end of February when it's all said and done. When I was a kid, they had 14 games up to 1978. This is the first time since 78 that they have changed the schedule from, that's the first time they did it. They went from 14 to 16, and now here you are all the way from 1978 to 2021. Now they're adding a game to make it 17 games. Remember the Dolphins? Perfect season. 14-0, 3 playoff games, 17-0. Patriots just a few years back.
16-0 regular season.
16-0 regular season. And they met Eli Manning, kryptonite to Tom Brady. But that's another story for another day.
Let me ask, do you know why they went from 14 to 16 and why wouldn't they go 16 to 18 and put the bye in just too early? This is just the buffer?
I think it's a lot harder to get by the Players Association now than it was back then.
Good point.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit more time and more concession.
Great
point. The players are going to get more for it. Do you want to go to 18? You got to give us this.
Well, you look at that.
Preseason should be 2 games.
Listen, look at the TV deal too, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like this plays all into it. It benefits. We're going back to that as we're talking as fans, Matt. This is the best thing. I'm glad I don't play football, but I'm glad I watch
I love it. You know,
That's what I'm saying. As a fan,
right, dude? No,
bring
exactly.
it on, man. I loved Wednesday games this year. I love Tuesday games.
You nailed it about
games
tonight.
on.
You know, tonight it's like we being able to watch.
We got free basketball
Last
tonight.
week you're saying, why does it have to happen? Why don't we have it on Thursday? But now you're happy it's on Monday and Tuesday.
I am. Really,
You
know,
play it
with the
every
whole
day.
Michigan thing and them not doing the Sweet 16 on the weekend, now that Michigan won, it's awesome. If Michigan lost, we would have been done anyways, you know. But thank God they won, and they're going to be playing tomorrow night, and we get to talk about Michigan.
And then guess what? They play on Saturday again.
If they win.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, if they win, man.
Basketball on Saturday, no matter what. If Michigan wins or loses, we got the Final Four.
Yep. Then you got the national championship on
national
Monday,
championship
baby.
on Monday.
Whew,
I love it, man.
I'm so glad they got through this tournament.
I know. It's been great. They've done a great job.
They really did a great job. But, yeah, that 17th game being added this year, we're going to take on the Broncos, which to me is a winnable game. My only fear with this is the Lions are going to set the record to be the first team to go 0-17.
No, they're not. No, they're going to be very competitive this year. People are misjudging
I'm not saying this
team.
year. I'm saying maybe
No,
20 years down the road.
Those days are done, man. We're done. We're done with that
Listen,
crap.
I hope we're done.
We're done.
I pray we're done, but I would have never thought we would have gone 0-16 either, but we broke that glass ceiling, so why not break the other one?
And then the Browns did it 2 years later.
Yes, they did.
A few years later.
Yep.
So they joined us.
It's like the 3-putt snake, right? If you 3-putt, you get the snake. Last guy to get it pays the group.
There you go.
You know what? The Browns got it now, so we don't have to worry about it.
They actually celebrated their 0-16-ness. So, like, we didn't throw a parade. They had a parade downtown. Like, they were going in.
Cleveland did?
Yeah.
That I wanted to go to. I mean, me and my family had this all set up where we were going to go, and we didn't go.
What happened, Fish?
You know, I don't know. It just fell through, but we were all set, ready to go downtown Cleveland, ready to have some fun.
Well, there's your problem. There's no fun to be had in downtown Cleveland. There's like literally there's one street that has, Cleveland is literally Greek town, and that's all they have.
Yeah.
They have one street, maybe like.
Remember the Flats? The Flats were they were it. The Flats were the rebirth of Cleveland. Unfortunately, a few years later, they burned those down. So they had to start all over again. But Cleveland's a nice city. I like going to Cleveland. I do.
The mistake by the lake, baby.
I love going to games there. I've been to the old Municipal Stadium, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is
The
right
Hall
now.
of Fame's awesome.
It's right next to Brown Stadium now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fine, but Cleveland sucks.
It does.
So do you want to get into the Dan Campbell conversation?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so Dan Campbell was meeting with the press today. He was it was more of an update about free agency and where the Lions are at. And what takeaways did you guys have from the press conference?
I just think that, the more they talked about the draft and how open they were going to be to taking different type of players, because someone asked them, would you take a player with not a rap sheet, but would you take a player that has a checkered past?
So Micah Parsons.
Like
That's
a
who they
Micah
were talking
Parsons.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
okay.
Micah Parsons. Now, if they asked that question to the previous regime, remember, if you even just said the wrong word to these guys, they were shipping you out of town. We don't need those kind of people here. But Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes saying, hey, it's on a case-by-case basis. We're going to, talk to these men and go from there and just take it on from there. You got that cut there? Easy?
Yeah.
Nope.
The thing I love that they're doing is they're not playing their hand before the draft, because I thought that's what murdered us last year. Was everybody knew we weren't going to take a quarterback, so they knew they didn't have to offer us something to go up and get Tua. It was just like, oh, okay, Tua's going to be there at 4. Like, it really doesn't matter.
No, I think what I took from this press conference is options. Is the same thing that I want at number 7, is that I come out of there like last year, you're like, what are you doing? What's going on? All this different garbage as far as signing Chase Daniels, setting your hand. Well, every question that was asked from as far as character, depending on who it was, the answer was, we'll vet it. You treat everybody differently. We'll vet out that situation. They really wanted to sign Kenny Golladay. At least that's... whether they did or they don't, that's what's coming out of there, which lets you know that, maybe they're high on a receiver. There's one of these things that they did not sell themselves down the road either way, that they're going to do this or do that, like the regime did in the past and especially last year. Yeah. So what I got out of this is that they're going to have their football team. Now, the whole thing is the culture of being aware, right? When you come from different organizations, you look in the past. So you got Deuce Staley, the running backs coach from Philadelphia, right? You got Anthony Lynn, who's the offensive coordinator from San Diego. So you look at who do they know from either college or whatever, because they know the character of some of these guys, and that's why you see the Anzalone who comes over as a backup. And the one thing, the difference that I love is that when they're bringing their people in, right? These are character guys. These are role guys. These aren't the guys like the Flowers and the top guys, Jamie Collins getting all the money. These are guys that are support guys that build culture. Bench guys, support guys, second stringers are culture guys. So I like everything that they've said. I think it sort of put it in more of a position for every other team to go, this ain't your usual Lions. We got options. We know we got options. And, you know, it's interesting because which way they're going to go. And again, it's about, do you trust who's making those decisions? And I do.
Hey, well, they asked about free agency, too. Are you done in free agency? All that kind of stuff. Here's Motor City, Dan Campbell on free agency.
I thought it was important that we brought in guys that, there again, we somehow have a relationship with, or that we know somewhat intimately, because you know what those guys are about, you know, and you grade the tape and yep, they can still do it. They have these, there's a role that they have, because I think this is important. I really do. And I do think the relationship side of this, when you've had coaches that understand who these players are, or GM, assistant GM, but there's just a number of guys here. I mean, when you look at Josh Hill and Alex Anzalone, my relationship and AG's relationship, you know, that means something. We know what this guy is.
To my point, exactly. And that's what I want, because if you're building foundation and culture, you got to bring in guys that you know that do it the way you want. And a lot of times it's not more so early on the talent on the field. So we're going to sacrifice and have some guys long in the tooth, but it's to set up the culture for the future. So I don't think they're going to go 0-17 stick at all. I think they're going to be in every game competitive. What I do like is accountability, because I feel that if they start getting these stupid penalties like false, you know, like pre-ball snap penalties like offsides and stuff, that's something that'll be fixed and be addressed real soon. And that's just what I'm hearing out of Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and everybody on the organization.
I think that's the first time I've seen him without a hat or his hair.
Right.
He was disheveled.
Back.
He looked a little disheveled today. Also, a guy you guys talked to last week that we all fell in love with. What about this Jamal Williams character?
Swift's going to grow into something pretty special, but you got to have another back, and this guy will bring an element that we need.
Yeah. Dan Campbell likes him. I like him.
Well, here's the thing.
We already like them.
This is what the coach. This is what the coach says, is that's my guy. He just told me right there that his energy, his attitude, living like an anime character. He's gonna embrace him because of what he brings to the team,
right,
and the practice and different things like that. And that's about wanting to be there. When you're around a guy, it's infectious, whether for us as fans to look at this and go, this guy's part of our, and he's really about that. And I think it's sort of the characteristic. You need one of those guys, as Dan Campbell said, and he's realized that. So I like he's telling you, Swift's going to be special. We know what we got, but we need this because this is a league. He played in the league. He's telling you the whys and giving you why they're making these decisions, and that's so different than the past going, because I came from the Patriots and I said so.
Right,
Yeah.
and it all makes sense,
Yes,
too. Like,
yes.
that's the most important thing. Like, he could be telling us what he's thinking, but this makes sense to me. All of this makes sense to me.
But it's supposed to make sense. If you
It is, but I haven't had that my whole
If you listen to
life.
Steve Yzerman talk, right, he will walk you the path of what it's going, and it's always usually coming out, when they're being honest, it's slower progression than we want as fans, or than what we really see.
Right.
So it's just about going to work. You know, one of the things I'm excited about is because when I either give my time as a Lions fan to go to a game or to watch a game, right, I'm going to feel invested that at the end of the day, I'm going to get a 60-minute effort regardless of win or lose, because you know what, if I don't, my coach is going to hold this guy accountable.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to what these guys can do. and bring on NFL, bring on 17, bring on 18 games. Let's. What I like about Jamal Williams is you heard him. I get stronger as the day goes on. I get stronger, and I think he's going to push DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson.
Everybody.
I think he's going to push them.
He's going to push the defense. He's going to push everybody because he's going to be chirping. He's going to have that defense hating him so much in practice that they're going to go out and see him on the field and want to rip his head off.
What you got, Easy?
One of the takeaways that I had is they asked him the questions like, how did the trade from last week change like what you had going on in the draft? And he spoke as if it didn't change anything, which I don't know about you guys. Does that speak to like more of a commitment to Goff than we originally planned on as fans?
Damn right it does. Like, to me, that's exactly what all this has meant, is that they're cemented in Goff. It was more the restructuring of Goff's contract that led me to believe that they're committed to this guy for at least 2 years. Just 2 years.
He's 26.
Right.
He's got 6 playoff wins. I don't give a shit how you get him. You got 6 playoff wins, and he's been to a Super Bowl and had a chance to win it.
Well, that's what drives me insane. The people that are like the people that really hate Goff are the people who love Stafford. Like, that's kind of the commonality that they have between them. I like Stafford too, but every argument they have against Goff is every argument they have for Stafford. The reason Stafford couldn't get it done, he didn't have a run game. He didn't have a defense. Well, Goff had all those things, and he got it done. So you're telling me Stafford needs the same setup Goff had to be as successful as Goff. So, like, it's a wash in my eyes.
Mark this down, 4/37/49 on this Monday, that Jared Goff, I'm going to predict, could have the biggest impact on the Detroit Lions organization in that trade as Brendan Shanahan did in 96, 97 for the Wings. There's that opportunity if it's done right, and we could be looking back in 2-3 years going, wow, what a move being made. Because, why? Because he's shown those flashes. He has those wins. He's got the pedigree, and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are committed to him. Yeah. So there's something there that I don't care what you want, that they know. And you know what? Maybe he needs to be coddled a little bit or needs to be loved by around him, but it's saying that he's the guy to lead him out of this, and I'm excited. So, you know what? Sometimes I know what I'm talking about, but you can mark it down
I was just going to say, 437. You got that, Uncle Luke? 437. That's the clip from today.
He's never going to have better fans because the Ram fans, they're garbage.
Trash.
LA fans are garbage sports fans. This is a real sports fan. I would never have moved to Michigan had it not been for all the sports teams here. I wouldn't go to any. I love the United States of America. I won't go. I will not go to a place that doesn't have all the pro teams, all the college teams. This place is a hotbed. We're going to be back. We're in the shitter now. We're going to be back. Right. We were there originally. We were there not too long ago. We're going to get it back again.
Shitter's full, boys.
Shitter's full. It definitely is right now. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got Me Gusta or No Me Gusta, and it has to do with opening day. We'll talk about that next on the Woodward Sports Network.
You don't fumble the ball at work. Hey, Drake Bell, Sean Baligian. See you guys next weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, Bell's soft. Wait till it comes to New Zealand. Pour that out.
I gotta find some like fun, like like La Cucaracha for this when we come back and do this.
Oh, you gotta get some.
Play Ricky Martin.
Tequila.
Ricky Martin.
Hey, wait, no, you gotta get the.
That's where your mind goes when I say Latino music.
Listen, I'll do even better. Do the Pee Wee Herman.
It is now time for Me Gusta or No Me Gusta, and my apologies to Pilar. I absolutely butcher that.
She's cringing right now.
Yeah, she does it so much better than me. But no tailgating for opening day. How do you guys feel about this? Me gusta or no me gusta?
Who you going to first?
I'm going to throw it to you since I turned to the left and looked at you.
I'm going to say, unfortunately, the fact that we are allowed in 8,200, figure it out. We'll be down at the Brass Rail Pizza Bar. We're going to try to do our best. If this helps, I will say me gusta, because if it's sort of going to try because the numbers have gone up, if this is where we're following the science, then I'll me gusta it.
Okay. Maz, what you thinking?
What do you think? F no me gusta. Let the people have some fun. If they're stupid enough to not wear masks and social distance as much as they possibly can, that's their fault. But you can be outdoors, have a good time, and be socially responsible, and go to opening day and enjoy the damn thing, and let the people that own these bars and restaurants downtown recoup some of their money. What are they letting 50% in? You were talking about
50% in and 100 people.
I mean, come on, man, 100 people.
That's it.
What do we usually have down here? 750,000 people?
Well, that's what we were talking about. We were doing the math this morning. Let's say there's, like 50 to 60 bars within walking distance of Comerica Park. So you're talking 100 times 50 is 5,000. So you're talking 5,000 people in bars, nobody allowed on the streets, and only 8,000 in the arena. So 15,000 total for the entire city if we're maxing it out.
I'm just wondering how the police, and are they going to really be on top of people?
It's the health department. It's not the police.
But I mean, are they going to police people? Because people are still going to go down there and maybe do something. Maybe you can't do it at the Comerica lots, but there are other lots that you can do things on. You got Chelly, the former Chelly's place.
How is it going to happen? What is the radius that you can't tailgate in? Like if I went to Eastern Market where I normally go to tailgate, is that okay because it's right not by Comerica Park?
I don't know. I'm anxious to see.
Yeah, that is
well,
an interesting point.
it's a good thing that it's not till Thursday. We can do some big J journalism until then and figure it out.
That's
for the people, maybe tomorrow we'll have a little bit of an update, but we'll figure it out.
And if you're looking for a place to go downtown and have a good time, we're going to be there because, it's opening day. We're still going to be walking around. We're still going to be talking to people about Woodward Sports. What you got, Art?
Yeah, I would love to be the Charlie LaDuff of Woodward Sports, and I volunteered to do some investigative journalism.
Yes. You know what? I was going to bring Charlie up. We got to have him on. We will have him on this week.
That man is a legend.
I'll have Charlie on this week. He'll break it down for us and let us know what the hell is going to happen here tomorrow while you're on, Stick.
Okay, yeah, bring him on.
Book it.
I love Charlie LaDuff, man. He stirs that pot.
I love it.
One of my favorite things is when Anthony Bourdain came to Detroit and Charlie LaDuff showed him around no reservations. Like, rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain. But anytime anybody highlights the city and like all the good things we have here, you automatically win a spot in my heart.
Absolutely.
That's it. It's that simple.
Well, no me gusta on no tailgating. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I want
We're grown-ups, for crying out loud.
Well, that's the point. Here's the point now. It's getting to the point that you're telling me that I'm not responsible enough to make an adult decision or to be safe to not, like, pretty much that's what it tells me is that we're not smart enough, or it's like we're children, and I think that's where people get frustrated.
Well, what blows my mind is they made all the restaurants move outside because it was safer to eat and all that, but now tailgating's outside, and that's no longer safe to be there. So either way, you cannot tailgate opening day. The health department will be down there issuing citations. That doesn't mean they're going to rip you away and take you to jail.
What kind of citations do you get from the health department?
That's what I'm wondering. That's
Don't do this again.
A little slap on
You're
the wrist.
very bad.
I don't know. Ask that barber that tried to open up in Owasso or whatever. The health department went at him pretty hard. So you're no me gusta?
No me gusta, but at least I got 8,200 fans, not 1,000.
Right. And you're me gusta?
I'm really no me gusta, but I wanted to argue with Matt, but it's like so stupid. But I changed.
Well, let's get into D-Max beats. Do you want to do that?
Absolutely, guys. Let's get into the beats. And you know what? The Red Wings this weekend, back-to-back wins, 3-1, 4-1 games. They played well. They played two of their best games of the year. But what am I going to bring up for the beats today? Oh, you remember our boy Giovanni Smith? Well, he just got called up to the taxi squad. And my boy, number 48, Giovanni Smith, remember earlier in the year he had that Gordie Howe hat trick in Florida, and then he got sent down, and people are all worried. Well, don't worry about it. He's down there in Grand Rapids. He's doing work. He's putting his time in. He got called up to the taxi squad, so that's good. But let's look and see what our boy Giovanni Smith did over the weekend.
A bit of ease by Boyle. He came out challenged.
Yeah, that's wonderful Grand Rapids Van Andel Arena.
Great arena.
It is beautiful.
And here you go. There he is, boys.
Let's play the feud.
Big 54. Stand up. You love the balance. You like to swing, and boom.
And boom.
And it just in case everybody wants to know, do I know Giovanni Smith? Is there something that, do you care? Well, Easy. Show him the picture that I had to FaceTime him yesterday. To me and my boy Mikey Eckstein from 8 Mile Vodka. But the Big G, hopefully he's in the lineup. But that is a guy. Why? Because he's the closest thing that you're going to get to me. And what he brings, that size, the physicality, stick up for his teammates, working in the corner. He's down there getting power play time, penalty killing time. But I look forward and really like not only this kid, but also his game. So shout out. There's a little 48 Giovanni Smith for you guys who have been wanting more of him. So he's on the taxi squad. Maybe you see him come up sooner than later. But this is a guy that we're looking forward to down the road.
Yeah, well, as long as he's beating people's ass like that, I'll take him on the Red Wings.
Oh, yeah, just protecting the car. And, you know, it's the role to play. And then the stuff is that he's that physical up-and-down winger, can play power play time. But, you know, you don't – anytime – I'm old school. When I got to look down a bench and see somebody that, you know, like, looks like he enjoys it, he almost looks like Francis Ngannou, who knocked out Stipe there. So what I mean is he means business. And good luck, and hopefully we'll see him soon.
What you got to say, Fish?
We got a NASCAR update.
Oh, I like it. What do you got?
Martin Truex Jr. is currently leading the race.
Stop
he started
the race.
5th. What?
Nothing.
He started 5th. They're 48 laps through.
I love it. There you go. That was, and if you D-Max earlier in the day, pit boss, Martin Truex won the truck race earlier in the day. And
Can he do the daily double?
We can do. Well, we got 5 on him, 5 to return at 85.
I was going to say he's plus 1,600, so
yeah.
let's go.
How many times do they do it? How many daily doubles? Did the truck guy win and then win it?
No, see, because
you don't do that.
It's all through the rain, right?
Yeah.
So it all depends on, usually it's a scheduling flaw. So the trucks usually go Friday. Infinity, which is the series below NASCAR, goes Saturday, and then usually Sunday. But the weather can all back them up, and they can all be racing on the same day. So it's exciting for a fan. I'm glad we'll be out of here so I can watch the end of it.
Larson, who started 1st, is 5th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's your NASCAR update. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, it is time for story time with D-Mac. So get comfy, get your blankie, and curl on up next to whatever device you're listening to us on right now. This is Woodward Sports. I mean, we're inside Grow Green right now, and they have everything. I'm talking, you got your active air fans, you got your big lights over there, big pots, little pots, and Joey, what are you doing right now?
Get some sun.
That's not what those lights are for.
Feels nice.
Go to Grow Green MI today to get all your growing needs and a tan.
Hey gang, it's Maz for Hall Financial. Interest rates are starting to fluctuate, so now's the time to get on it. Call Hall Financial so you don't know what's going to happen, but you better be smart. Make the call now while rates are still low. You could be saving money and possibly years on your mortgage. Hall Financial is fast. They do all the heavy lifting for you. So check them out, davidhallmortgage.com now to get started. Tell them Maz sent you because I did it a couple of times with them in the last 4 years. I'm at 2.5 right now, and I lowered my interest. Not only to that, I lowered the years down to 15 years. So I might pay the house off eventually. Hall Financial, lower payments, better options, and personal attention. Tell them I sent you.
I'm so jealous of you, man. I'm at 5% right now.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Get on it.
I'm trying. I got to. I got to call Hall Financial.
I got you,
like, for real. I got to.
Tell them Matt sent you.
Yeah, tell them Matt sent you.
You get a referral bonus?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I do.
All right. I'll take that up with Broadwell because he told me the same thing. All right, Mac. Well, you got story time coming up, man. What story do you have for us on this lovely Monday?
You know what? We're going to dive into my book, My Last Fight, True Story of a Hockey Rock Star. And just, you know, for people that have asked, and I wrote it a while ago. But, you know, in order to get in the mood, Stick.
Uh-oh. You got to change.
I got to change. You don't have it? We don't have it? Oh, that's
disappointing.
Very disappointing.
That is disappointing.
We will play it eventually coming up on one of these days. You'll see it.
But here's the story time. And can you put up the picture of the book and then the dedication on the front? So there's the book, My Last Fight, True Story of a Hockey Rock Star. It's
good-looking guy right there.
I wrote that in Florida in 2012 and 13. My dedication, when I played with Bob Probert, I called him Goomba and he called me Mitzi. This book is dedicated to you, Goomba, from your Mitzi, because whether people know it or don't know, on and off the ice, you were always my hero. You're the only person I had known that had a bigger and softer heart than me, and I know that because you let me in it. I miss you every day, and thank you for paving the path you did so that I could learn, right, wrong, or indifferent. You telling your story gave me the inspiration and confidence to tell mine with 100% no punches pulled honesty. This book is my tribute to you and Danny. I love you, Proby. I'll never stop fighting. Mitzi. Now, it's important, when I'm talking about the book or whatever like this, because the bottom line, it's no matter what you're going through, you're not alone, and somebody else obviously is going through it too. And one of the things I wanted to let everybody know is I'm gonna maybe this book will be therapeutic because it offers me the opportunity to set the record straight about my life. There are plenty of stories and so-called information floating around about what happened to me during my career and after I retired. Most of it's untrue. Some of you think you know my story, but you really don't. Forget about what you have heard, because this is the real story. This is the raw and censored truth about my career and life. Since every bad decision leads to a great story, this book is full of great stories. My hope is that this book entertains, enlightens, and clarifies what it's really like to live on the roller coaster ride that is my life. Every day I wake up trying to find my balance. Every day I wake up not knowing what to expect. Every day I wake up wondering how exactly I got to where I am. And I always end up, and all my book, and I'll get into this a little bit more, but every chapter's got a story and a quote to it. And beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance. George Bernard Shaw. So a little bit of insight into it's unfortunate that you didn't get to see what Ben and I put together, but we'll have it for you. But a little bit of what it has, and the biggest importance what I wrote that is because as I'm reading the quote in the paragraph before that, I was still drinking. And even Cheryl was trying to control me to beers and stuff, but I haven't drank since 15. So it goes to look back when I look back to see where I was, because it's always about progress, not perfection. So like I always tell you, I'm not here to argue. I'm here for what do you mean by that. So that's a little bit of my last fight, true story of a hockey rock star, story time with D-Mac.
I love that.
We need some music behind you too. We got to come up with some some nursery rhyme music.
It's all progress, not perfection. We can whatever it is.
Probert, man, when I think of just anything to do with Bob Probert, it is just tough, just pure tough. Guy was made of steel. Him and Domi fights were amazing to watch, and I'm one of those kids that I would go dive deep, and next thing I know, I've been watching hockey fights for 3 hours, and you gain a lot of respect for these guys, and you gain a lot of just knowledge about who they are as people, because a lot of times they fight, but like you're all about the why. Like, why is this guy getting into fights, and what did he stand up for? What caused him to finally put his foot down? Like, all right, enough. I'm putting my fist through your forehead.
Right, and there's so many different things when you get into the intricacies of why fights go on in different ways, where you watch it and you know the history of it, that sometimes these guys have been fighting since they were 16 years old. Right. And it's just like a guy. So to break it down and know a little behind stories of real people, because even though people are on TVs, is that what we do is not who we are.
Right. Well, and even though we celebrated, D-Day, or you call it Red Wings D-Day last week, if somebody was just tuning in and saw you clock Lemieux, they'd be like, man, what a asshole D-Mac is for doing that to a guy just trying to skate by, not knowing the whole backstory that he smashed your boy's face into the glass, and this was retribution.
And if no one's seen it but they know me, they would say, wow, what did he do? What did Lemieux do to deserve that, right? Because that's the thing. Like, I figure I'm always pretty easy to get along with no matter what, so if I don't like you or if I get mad, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. I think you're a good barometer.
Thank you.
I really do in that aspect.
You're an equalizer, I know that.
That's all it is. That's all it is. The peacemaker, P-I-E-A.
P-I-E-A.
We can make it pieces or we can make it peaceful.
Well, thank you for sharing your story time with us today, D-Mac. We do that around this time every day right here on the Woodward Sports Network on The Hook. So, you want to do Who You Like?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who you like?
I'll start it off.
Go ahead.
I got my exacta for tonight. I've got my daily double. I'm taking Oregon State plus the 7.5 tonight. I think the Beavers are going to hang. I think they might even have a chance to knock off Houston at the way they're playing. For sure, I like them to cover the spread the way they've been playing. Yeah, they took down Loyola the other day. They got to play a little bit better than that if they want to win this game. And then in the nightcap, you got Arkansas against Baylor. Baylor's really not a lot of people have done much against them. I got to stick with the Bears right now and give that 7.5 to the Hogs. So I like Baylor minus 7.5, Oregon State plus 7.5 tonight.
All right. What about you, D-Mac?
Well, actually, I'm very confident, and I'll tell you why. My picks are the same as Maz's.
Oh.
Now, Maz didn't go, listen, there's been progress, not perfection with Tom Mazaway, because I didn't know that he went undefeated yesterday 4-0 because he wasn't bragging about it at the desk beforehand, kiboshing him Borat Costanza style. Right now, my man's going to come through. I'm doubling down with Maz. I'm taking Oregon State plus the points, and I'm taking Baylor minus the points, and I am going to parlay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's a Parlay Monday.
Let's make some money tonight.
Well, I'm with you guys with the Baylor pick. Does that count?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm with you on the Baylor pick. Houston, I do think, is going to cover that 7.5 point spread. I actually think they're going to win easily by double digits over Oregon State. Oregon State's defense, it does travel. That's the one thing I say about defense. It's all effort based, so I do like defense to travel. I just don't know if they have enough to beat the firepower that Houston has.
I'm not either. Both these games, they don't excite me. Neither one excites me. I can't wait till tomorrow already.
I was excited for the late game yesterday. I was excited for the Oregon USC game yesterday, and I waited all day for that.
No, that third game was amazing.
Yes.
That UCLA-Alabama game was something, man. That was special. And Alabama, man, they had it teed up. That kid hits that shot to send it into overtime, and then they're done after that, which is shocking. Usually, if you send a game into overtime, you have got the momentum.
Right.
But UCLA turned it around, so they get Michigan tomorrow in a classic blue blood matchup from the day back in the day. Michigan, and then you got Gonzaga and USC. USC's got those brothers. They're going to be tough. I think USC is going to give Gonzaga everything they want tomorrow.
There's 3 Pac-12 schools left in the Elite Eight. That's so crazy to me.
Wait, doesn't it almost like you're swearing or something?
Right.
Like when you say 3 Pac-10 and anything, it's weird, but that's the way the COVID's gone. This year's gone, and like we're hanging on Michigan. And to your point about UCLA though, that's that culture. Right, that's the culture that has come through after winning Michigan State. We talked about it last week.
I love the head coach's dad in the stands, Grandpa. I mean, he's so cute, man.
He looks like John Wooden, doesn't he?
I know he does.
Every time they flash him, like a Wooden's
I know
there.
it's so hard to root against him, but
Wooden's
I will.
Like 147.
Yeah, I know, but he looks just like him.
I will root against him. By the way, tomorrow I will.
Yeah,
even though Darren's son is now a UCLA guy. He might have a little special.
He was a UCLA guy. I mean, he is the coach now of the hockey program and stuff. But so he can cheer for whoever. But I'm still sure he's cheering for Michigan.
Well, we'll find out the first 2 pieces of the Final Four coming up later on tonight, and then we'll find out the next 2 pieces tomorrow. And hopefully, Michigan wins at 9:57 p.m. Maz. Not going to wait up for that, are you?
Of course I am.
He's going to have a nap.
I'm just disappointed that they got to wait around all day, and they're the team that has actually, on Indiana time. It's on Eastern time. Is Indiana still Eastern, or are they Central?
No, they're an hour behind us.
Are they still?
Yeah.
They're an hour behind?
Yeah, they're on Chicago time.
Okay, so they're Central time. But,
yeah.
It's a shame that they got to wait that long to play this game. And UCLA is more in their wheelhouse. This is the time they usually play. But like Al Rosenberg, the great engineer, told me, who's there in Indy, all these teams have been there long enough to adapt to this time zone. So just got to wait.
Their jet lag's over.
Yep, just got to wait.
Well, thank you guys for joining us on The Hook this afternoon. We do it Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Stick. That is Maz to my right, D-Mac to my left. Thank you, Easy. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Uncle Luke, the new intern. And thank you, Fish. You guys have a great Monday. Enjoy those Final Four contenders coming up tonight.